One of the trends we've noticed in the last couple of years at Jackhammer Global is an uptick in the number of companies that are reaching out to us to help them with their board appointments, their non-executive director appointments. And I'm curious to know why you think this is happening, why this increase in working with a search firm for the purpose of finding non-executive directors, because my understanding is that that was always something that was done through the general network. People on boards, CEOs, the chairman, there would be an exiting board member and somebody new would be appointed generally through their own network.
Yeah.
They wouldn't need us.
So I think there are probably two things. So one, any company that's listed probably has this baked into its compliance regulations in the first place, that they do need to go out and source a lot more deliberately. But the thing that I'm most excited about is that more and more private companies are coming to us with this request when they probably could do this on their own. And to me, this is quite exciting because it signals something of a sea change. It means more companies are being deliberate and clear about why diversity matters and are moving it from a compliance and box ticking exercise to one of strategic importance, and it's linked to performance imperative. It will be linked to things like innovation and market expansion, and importantly to stakeholder trust, because you want to see more diversity of thought that is represented in diversity of people. And I think companies realize that they can't rely on their own, one, untransformed networks to source credible board members, and two, it just doesn't cast the net wide enough to source the best available people rather than just the first five that came to mind.
I think there's also the issue that sometimes in the network of an existing board, there's the challenge of doing the outreach oneself to possibly a colleague or a friend or somebody that you know through your own network who's quite senior, who's got gravitas, who's got a reputation, a good reputation, and then that being declined by the rest of the board for some reason or another. When they're handling this process through a professional intermediary like ours, we handle all of that. So there isn't the kind of emotional turmoil that goes with, or the embarrassment. The process itself, the process can take long. And so boards can then actually outsource this whole function, make sure it gets handled very professionally. And then they also aren't dealing with the challenges of declining somebody that had been approached in their network. So those are some of the considerations and why we're seeing organizations actually recognize the need to elevate this process. I think that's the thing, is like we need to make this process more professional. It's not just tapping a buddy that you play golf with as your next board member. We need to do this differently these days.
You know, on that, I think we're also seeing an increase in age-related diversity on boards. I think traditionally it's been seen as the sunset of your career type of position, but actually a lot of boards are expanding their talent pool by taking on first-time board sitters. And that could include entrepreneurs, senior executives in adjacent sectors if there's no conflict of interest. There are more functional leaders sitting on boards. And this diversity of voices can reflect modern business challenges more than having, a set of retirees or people who have already left the formal workforce sitting on a board. There does need to be a certain amount of mentoring and onboarding that happens, but I think board-related decisions are now encompassing capability and not just capacity and availability.